Hello, Doc, alcoholic addict, amongst other things, and welcome to another fantastic edition of Sober School. Today, basically, I'm going to be going over the stuff I meant to go over last week about touch a little bit about neurochemistry and why our brains work the way they do, and how that relates to addiction, and how to judo that shit into something positive, potentially. All right. Just like big picture, like our neurotransmitter systems evolved to keep us alive in dangerous, resource-scarce environments. Like modern society provides constant artificial stimulation. Like we were talking about last week, we literally look at thousands and thousands of messages every single day. Like we are bombarded. I think the number was somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 messages a day in a study, and that was like 15 years ago. That was like before TikTok. That was like, so who knows what the actual number is now? We are bombarded, and addiction and alcoholism are predictable biological outcomes of repeated overstimulation. Like we are creatures of habit. So is it any surprise that we are prone to developing habits that are in this age of abundance, typically habits that are unhealthy, because the same systems that develop to keep us alive and keep us moving in the right direction when we didn't have a lot and we really had to work for it. Now, like, we got it too easy. We got it too good. And that's why things get bad. Like one of the main ones, big one, is dopamine. That it's survival motivation turned into compulsion. It evolved over millions of years, and not just in humans, to motivate survival behavior such as finding food, bonding, and exploration. Like when we set goals and achieve them, like even small goals. That's part of why we do the whole set our daily goals in the morning. Is because if you can set a simple short-term goal and actually achieve it, you get a little rush of dopamine. You get, like, when I say some weird shit about lobsters, and then you get like an aha moment and understand something for the first time, you get a little rush of dopamine. Like when you have like when you get something, when you get that aha moment, like your brain's like, okay, here's a little dopamine. Like, good job learning something new. Like novelty, new things. We're typically in some areas we're xenophobic. We're scared of new things. But if it's a new positive thing, oh, I've never had that food before, and it tastes really good. Definitely a big spike in dopamine. And that's why when you get into the habits of learning new things, it's self-amplifying. There's a feedback loop there. Like, man, crack open your big book. When you read something, you go, oh man, I can totally relate to that. Boom, dopamine. Like, alcohol and drugs create dopamine surges far beyond natural rewards. Like, we get like a huge spike in dopamine when we do dope. Like way outpacing what is available naturally. And that seems, oh, cool, extra good stuff, However, having that overabundance more than is natural, there's a difference between a brain altering compound and a brain damaging compound. And like the levels of dopamine produced from like drugs and alcohol, they ultimately they give you the feels. They make things feel good initially, but it ultimately downregulates your available of natural dopamine. Okay, I feel super great, and now it's super hard, like that little spike you get from like a good meal, or we'll say bonding. That's it doesn't really take a dent because the available receptor sites that actually can even perceive and receive that dopamine has diminished because we burnt the crap out. And repeated use teaches the brain that substances are more important than the survival. This has been shown time and time again in lab rats. You give them the okay. You can have food, water, or this water bottle with cocaine in it. And which one do you think they're ultimately, after they try the cocaine water, they're ultimately going to keep trying the cocaine water? If that's all they're given. There was a really cool study. Anybody heard of Rat City? Yeah. Like, there was an experiment. They set it up like they often do. I don't know why scientists have such a big hard-on for giving rats cocaine, but they set it up as they often do. Okay, here's your options: food, water, cocaine water. And as you can probably guess, the rats did cocaine until they died. They stopped drinking regular water. They stopped eating food. They're about that life, just cocaine all day, every day. Every day. But the basis of this experiment is like, man, like if I was just sitting in a cage and somebody offered me cocaine, I'd probably do cocaine too. Because like, what do I got anything better to do? No, I'm in a fucking cage. So they set up like what they called Rat City. It was like it was like Chuck E. Cheese for rats. It was this big area where they could socialize. They could hang out with other rats. There was cool stuff to look at and stuff to do and stuff to climb over and tunnels to go through. Basically Chuck E. Cheese. And you know what happened? The rat cocaine use went way the fuck down. Because they actually had something tangible, something real to live for, something positive that gave them that dopamine, but was not ultimately deleterious to their health. And it like dopamine spikes lead to cravings, loss of motivation, and just anhedonia, which is just the reduced ability to even feel pleasure. Like nothing, man. You ever been to the point where, man, just nothing makes me happy anymore, and you're doing dope just so you don't feel absolutely horrible. Yeah. Well, it's now it can always get worse. That is a characteristic of the bottom, but you can always keep digging.
That's the bottom of the bag.
Yeah.
The worst is when you cut the bag.
Yeah. Collect all the dirty bags, put it in your coffee maker. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So I've read. Serotonin is the happy chemical in your brain. Like connection. Helps regulate mood, patience, emotional stability, social bonding. When you feel connection with other people, that upregulates. That gives you a serotonin spike. When you're fellowshipping and you see the same people at meetings, you're like, oh, what's up? Like you get a little spike of them feels, and it's totally good, and it's naturally, and it's naturally occurring. And it's noticeable, and it can be self-amplifying if you cultivate systems where you get these natural spikes of serotonin, because alcohol temporarily boosts serotonin, creating calm and confidence. You feel like, yeah, I love you, man. Like you feel that connection, you feel that closeness, you feel happy. But long-term use depletes serotonin, leading to depression and irritability. You burn through those receptor sites faster than you can replenish them. Like talked before about the whole Venus flytrap parallel. Like Venus flytraps native to North and South Carolina. like the little mouth has little hairs in it, and when the fly hits the little hair, it closes, right? But each head can only do that, remember, 7 times. That's right. And then that little head shrivels up and it dies. Because I had one as a kid. I'm like, I begged my mom, man, this is so cool. I got to have this. I just took a toothpick and tickled little hairs till all the mouth stopped opening up and it shriveled up and died. That is very similar to what I did to most of my brain. Like, same thing. Like, your brain cells and receptor sites are refreshed and replenished, but if you are triggering them faster than they can be replenished, ultimately the available receptor sites get smaller and smaller and smaller, and it takes more and more and more just to get you to baseline. Not even get to feel good, to just to get to not feeling absolutely god awful. And it's not, it is not a sustainable business model. Alcohol comes just like your substitute for mood regulation, and ultimately worsens mental health and makes the problems that you're trying to not feel or not deal with, or the situations you're trying to avoid, ultimately get worse and worse and worse. GABA, which is gamma aminobutyric acid, but I will just say GABA. It's a discriminatory neurotransmitter, decides whether or not you give fucks about stuff, but it's meant to calm the nervous system. Like after danger or stressful situations, that's your brain's way of taking the edge off. All right, your stuff's firing way too hardcore. You need to dial it back, take it down a notch, and enter GABA. And alcohol directly stimulates GABA, producing relaxation and sedation. You definitely you had a real super stressful day, so you tie one on, and then another one, and another one, and another one. But you tie one on, take the edge off, and okay, mission accomplished, upregulates GABA, but the brain adapts to those heightened levels of this neurotransmitter, and so okay, you found another source, it stops producing it itself. Okay, we found another way to take the edge off, so we're not going to devote resources to doing that. So now the only way we have to not feel anxious and overwhelmed is alcohol. And in that, so we took it because we felt nervous or anxious or stressed out, so we drank and we feel better for a little while. But if you keep doing it like that, ultimately you will just feel that way, stressed and anxious and overwhelmed all the time, regardless if there's even any external stimuli that should be causing that. Oh man, I got to get out of bed or go to the bathroom or get dressed or go to work. Overwhelming, because we've pickled our brain into stopping producing the natural neurotransmitters that were there for that purpose. And it brings us to adrenaline, norepinephrine. That's definitely closely tied to the whole amygdala, the old fight or flight response in the brain. Helps you decide whether to kick ass or kick rocks. Deal with potentially dangerous situations. And modern life keeps adrenaline activated through chronic stress. Because we're so overwhelmed and bombarded in daily life, we get all these things to worry about. That keeps us in a state of hypervigilance. The world we live in makes that way, way worse. That's why, man, I just want to get rich and move to the country. There's a reason why people say stuff like that, because in this day and age, in this world of plenty where we have all the things at our fingertips that we think, okay, that should make me happy. Ultimately, it only leads us to us being overwhelmed because we were not designed for that. We were designed over millions and millions of years, ultimately for a far simpler life than what we're living. So so you develop this system over millions and millions of years, and then over the past 5,000 years, we change shit up. And we wonder why we're not adapted to this, or we're maladapted, just out the box, to this world of plenty. Yeah, that we live in.
Cut that thing.
At least you put it in phone jail, so I appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I usually don't bring it.
Yeah.
Shut up.
But yeah, and so we're not we've developed over millions of years to set up these systems to that definitely helped us in our past. That's why we're here today. But now the world is changing at such a fast rate, and these structures and neurotransmitter systems developed in our brain over these millions of years, and 350 million years ago in the case of the lobster, in the whole dominance hierarchy, that's you can't Rome wasn't burnt in a day, you can't can't change these things overnight. Yeah. That was entirely intentional. Right. But we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. Yes.
You're right about that. The technology, Chris would back me up on this. Only ones who had computers was the government, and they were as big as that whiteboard back then.
Yeah.
And now today, what those computers couldn't even do, you can do on your little watch now. I mean, it's just so fast.
A crappy Nokia brick phone has more processing power on it than the computers that took us to the moon. Back when the day of vacuum tubes, a calculator would take the sanctuary and about half a side one to do the same thing a pocket calculator can do now. But there is, by understanding these systems, what did Sun Tzu say about the enemy? Know the enemy. Be master of minds, not mastered by minds, because the mind is a great servant, but a terrible master. And it's only by understanding the way this works in all this that we can figure out how to properly operate it and use these systems we have in place, because we can't be trusted. I talked about this before. You guys know about MK Ultra? Yeah, the whole CIA mind control program. Some of the most messed up stuff they did was at a place called the Ravenscroft Institute in Canada. Now I could do a whole class just on MK Ultra, but but one of the experiments they did was they took a homosexual gentleman and they put electrodes that surgically implanted electrodes and gave him this little belt with a battery pack and a button, and whenever he hit the button, he would orgasm. And then they gave him straight porn to watch, and they were saying, well, let's see if we can do a boogie woogie on his brain and make this gay guy straight. It did not work, and after pressing the button 1,600 times in about 2 hours, he almost died. And similarly, we should not have access to our own button, just instant gratification. We just, as a species, we don't need that. That is ultimately unhealthy. We will destroy ourselves given that opportunity. But there's positive ways, to get dopamine. In the same sort of reinforcement, looking for positive ways to get dopamine, reading your big book, and like reading one of the stories in the back, and oh my God, I can totally relate to that. When you get that aha moment, your brain gets dopamine. When you go to the gym and work out, your brain gets dopamine. Like, and there's other neurotransmitters as well. There's like, what are some other good ones? Oxytocin is a good one. Like it's that warm fuzzy feeling when you're in love, you meet a girl and she makes you feel all funny. Like, yeah, it's a bonding chemical. Like it's like you feel it's in effect somewhat similar to the bromine in chocolate, but like you feel close. You know, there's no drug that directly upregulates oxytocin. Like that's something you can get that you can't get from any drug, is that feeling of closeness. They're like anodyne and then
Enzymes?
no, it's an anodyne or something like that. It's basically cannabinoids. It's joy. It comes from the Sanskrit for joy. Like, and that's what like cannabinoids upregulate. And in conjunction with dopamine, you know, like practicing gratitudes releases like 4 of these huge feel-good positive neurotransmitters. And because neurons that fire together wire together, that's why we do gratitudes in morning meditation. You're not just, oh man, I got to say this stupid stuff. There's a reason. We're doing that and setting attainable daily goals to the end of rewiring our brains to positive ends. We're using proven science and technology and research to, okay, we need to reinforce, we got these systems, we need to redecorate, we need to reroute, because we're wired for dependence, and we did a lot of that wiring ourselves, but we can be dependent on each other, on fellowship, on the rooms, on a power greater than ourselves. And that can give us everything we need. And we get to keep it. It's at a sustainable rate. Trying to get it externally, sure, yeah, let you press the button, let's get the feels right now. But you don't get to keep it, and it ultimately makes things worse. It's like addiction is it's like a payday loan for neurotransmitters. Man, I could really use some feels right now. I know I'll get those feels on Tuesday or on Thursday, like naturally, but man, I could really use some extra feels right now. So you hit the button, you get a front on those feels, and yeah, some of it comes back on Thursday, but you'll interest on that, because not all of it comes back. Just like the interest you have to pay on that payday loan. Okay. But it's Thursday, so you're good. But now you run through your available natural feels quicker, and you need to get a payday loan instead of getting it on Tuesday. Now you need it on Monday. And similarly, payday loans and addiction, not a sustainable business model. You will always be behind, and it ultimately, if you don't get out from under it, it's going to end badly. But there's things like cultivating what's called flow. All right, you ever been in the zone? You're like doing something you're like good at or you enjoy doing.
You're locked in.
Yeah, you're locked in. Like it's easy. You're not even really trying. Like when you're like, I used to be a crew trainer at McDonald's, and I'd be on the line at night. Working by myself, and it's not super fun, but I kind of make it a game, and I get in the zone, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the next order, and I'm overcoming the stuff, and I'm figuring out how I'm gonna meet the demand of the little things coming up on that screen. Or if I'm going, and it was a good feeling when you get in the zone, And you're like, okay, and you're focused, you're dialed in. And being in that flow state releases like 5 of these big boy feel good neurotransmitters. Just focusing on something positive. Man, purpose. Purpose does things on a neurochemical standpoint that you couldn't accomplish with drugs if you tried. It releases having a reason, to be doing what you're doing, trying to do my God's will, trying to help people, trying to help people not make the same mistakes I made. It gives me purpose, and it sounds like a bunch of slogans and bumper sticker stuff, but man, it's the shit. It is. I feel just by focus on it, because we do need pleasure, we do need stuff that makes us happy, but but there needs to be a balance. You think you want to be on a beach somewhere, not working, and just having somebody feed you peeled grapes. You might think that. That sounds great. There's a margarita and somebody feeding you grapes, and you don't have to do anything. But that's not what you were developed to do. That's not what evolution spent millions of years doing. We are hunter-gatherers. We are meant to have a task. We are meant to have a purpose. And without that, we just feel empty. And again, you don't want to have too much work or responsibility, because you're just going to burn out. You need so there's a sweet spot. Scott Adams says it's about 80% work, 20% meaning. That little integer can vary ever so slightly, but we do need some feel goods. We need okay, man, watch the game, go fishing, do something we like, that's positive. We need some pleasure, but we've spent all these years operating on the 2 basic instructions we've had since we're infants, which is seek pleasure and avoid discomfort. And really cultivating that flow state and self-improvement is all about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. If you go to the gym, it doesn't matter how much you lift or how many times you lift it. What matters is you do it more than is comfortable. You do it till it hurts, and then do 2 more. If you do just that, you will get bigger, you will get stronger. If you don't like sharing, do it anyway. Okay, share a little bit more than your name. You're kind of okay, my name's Doc, I'm an alcoholic and addict. And this. Little inside information. I have horrible social anxiety. Horrible. I grew up with a speech impediment and a stutter, and I couldn't talk, and I would answer your questions, and I'm also on the autism spectrum. I would answer your questions maybe if you asked me, but I wasn't looking to talk to anybody. I would I would never think, I wouldn't see myself when I was a kid ever sharing at a meeting, much less doing what I'm doing here right now. And it's about man, I cannot overstate the benefit of just embracing the suck. Just setting this little simple rule of, if there's stuff you have to do, if you just do the one you want to do the least first, and just do that in all things. We talked about this. That one simple rule will benefit you in virtually every aspect of your life. You don't want to share? Sure. Share a little bit more than you like feel comfortable sharing. Yeah, and you don't want to like type A personalities have a tendency to go overboard. Like, okay, this is totally out of my depth, so I'm gonna try and do it. That is not recommended. But going, okay, man. Like I run into it all the time. I'm having to fix appliances or troubleshoot stuff that I've never come across. And I'm like, man, this is a little bit, I haven't really messed much with programmable logic controllers. But I know I'm a lot about all the other systems, so maybe I'll push myself about that 5%, you know, and just go a little bit outside my comfort zone. That cultivates flow, that releases dopamine, serotonin. When you get done, you're like, another dopamine boost. I learned something new, another dopamine boost, just by putting myself out of my comfort zone. The amount of positive neurotransmitters that are released is off the board, and it's self-amplifying. It's a positive positivity feedback loop. Just by doing these simple things, you see more benefits. And now I'm still dependent. I still got habits, like going to the gym. I like what I do on my weekends, on my downtime. I watch educational programming, like stuff. I was going to go into this big thing on how quantum physics and consciousness, but we'll do that another day. But and how it relates to a power grid in ourselves and how we're all connected. But like flow reduces like, I love it. Flow reduces like rumination and craving by fully occupying attention. Getting in the zone about stuff, being engaged, doing something you're good at, doesn't matter what it is, well, to a degree. As long as it's positive, like, you want to just like get in the zone, crochet. I like doing macrame myself. Used to make a bunch of hemp necklaces. Like, find something little that you can get in the zone about. It's very like doing tile for me is very meditative. I can get in the zone. Like, and it's so cool and it feels so good. I put on like some classical music or some jazz, something instrumental, and just focus on measurement, cuts, keep my eye on the layout, making sure the lines are straight. I get in the zone and it's amazing. Like in flow, attention is intensely focused on the present task. It's being in the moment. This reduces mental space for intrusive thoughts. If we're focused on something, doing something positive, it doesn't really matter what it is. Because that focus, having our mind full of that, keeps those intrusive thoughts and the cravings and like focusing on resentments and BS out of there. And the more we upregulate stuff like how we feel and naturally occurring dopamine and serotonin, just by upregulating serotonin, the benefits, stand up straight, stand up a little bit straighter, feel a little bit better, a little bit more confident. We're increased patience, which is big for me, because I get very impatient with inanimate objects and tools at times. But still, I am, by naturally, positively upregulating my serotonin, you become less sensitive to negative emotions. You don't get sad as easy. Because sadness is an overabundance of melatonin and other depressant chemicals in your brain. So if you can do things that are going to upregulate serotonin naturally and healthily, you're not going to get sad as easily. Like you can't. Like even if you were trying to be sad, like you just can't do it because it's a chemical imbalance in your brain. You're like upregulating serotonin naturally through fellowship, connection, working out, makes it so the deck is stacked in our favor. Like we are far less likely to look for that serotonin boost from external unhealthy sources once we get our brain wired and figure out again, we got the plug. Like we don't need the button. You like it's built in. Flow, being in the zone, like restores the brain's reward system naturally in a sustainable way. We have to like unwire those dependents and those unhealthy systems we've developed over all these years and wire it to something positive. Man, you just get hooked. Man, I'm hooked on self-improvement. I couldn't. I don't know if I could quit if I tried. Like, is it like recovery often involves a dysregulated dopamine system, almost always. Flow produces balanced dopamine release tied to effort. So you create this loop. Okay, when I produce effort, when I do something I don't want to do and overcome it, I do something I was scared of and overcome it, I get the feels. So that's a reward system. That's a habit. It becomes habit forming. Just by doing it consistently, you can literally get hooked on self-improvement. All it does is just go an inch outside your comfort zone in the right direction. And then go like 2 inches, then go 6 inches, then go a foot, then go a mile. Because it's self-reinforcing. There was, we limit ourselves. I don't think I can do it. I don't think it's possible. I don't know if I could. There's been times I don't know if I could ever get clean, because like my identity, I was Doc. Like I'm the dude. Like if we need to get high, we'll fucking find a way. Like I could, I can go to most houses and I'll look around hard enough. I can find a way to fucking catch a buzz. You know, when I worked that same McDonald's I used to work at, it was back when they didn't sell alcohol on Sundays. So I'd take one of the bags for the premix for the shake machine, and I would cook hooch at work underneath one of the coolers. Use the heat coming off the compressor to cook it all week, and then every Sunday, got a fresh batch of hooch. Never had to go Sunday without alcohol. I'm gonna find a way. And so like it took a long time, just consistently. And I know you guys might not know this, but I know a thing or two about getting high. I literally spent years, like man years, reading like scientific papers and literature and studying chemistry, like studying how to get high, and destroyed my life with it. And it turns out all that information has come to serve me well, and it's very useful. It just turns out I was in the wrong business the whole time. Like, knowing the things I do are so incredibly beneficial in a recovery setting. Like, that's how, like, man, if you're fucking up, I'm when we're talking, we're bullshitting, have a good time. I'm checking your pupil dilation. I'm watching your hands, breathing, like comparing my mental image of your body language, all the other times I've seen you, your posture. Dude who just left and stuff, and we were talking about things. He was the only person sitting forward in the whole room. Where normally he's all like laid back, but he had that sword of Damocles hanging over his head because he had shame. He knew he did something wrong. And that was out of the norm. That was something, like, it was noticeable. Because I pay attention to that sort of thing. All the stuff like that really detrimentally affected my life in my past, trying to just press my own button, is been a master class as far as helping people in their recovery. Like flow strengthens self-efficacy and identity repair. Like figuring out who we really are, what our purpose is. Because man, it is so like you like if you're just what's your purpose? To go to work and come home, and then go to work and come home and make enough money to pay my bills. Even if you're paid incredibly, there's that work to meaning ratio is not there. We're not going to be fulfilled, like, because we are hunter gatherers. Show me show me more of a hunter-gatherer than a tweaker. I challenge you. You know, hunting for cans and copper, you know, like gathering them up, looking for a lick, or a cell phone that's unsecured, or a unlocked car door. That is hunter-gatherer behavior. That is hard fought, developed over millions of years. Like just how like, oh man, I'm a fucking can't buy alcohol. I'm gonna figure something out. Because we're resourceful. We overcome stuff. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have purpose and meaning. I'll attain these like short-term goals to get our dopamine. Like that's how we're wired. And like flow creates emotional, like sustainable emotional regulation without suppression. You get to keep this. It doesn't like, okay, I feel good now, but I'm gonna feel like crap tomorrow. It's like I'm gonna feel not maybe not like super great. I might not be. You can't be an 11 all the time, but I'm gonna be better than 5 all day, every day. Every day. And flow calms the stress response, reduces self-criticism, while allowing emotions to move naturally. This makes it a powerful complement to therapy, mindfulness practices, prayer, and meditation. See, we have this, I did a whole class on like biases. We have this negativity bias that is built in. For every 9 out of every 10 things that we notice are negative. And that is ultimately because, like, okay, in our evolutionary past, that was to our benefit, okay? Like being mindful of the bad stuff so we can, like, avoid it, fix it, what have you. But in this day and age of plenty and dopamine on demand delivery systems and TikTok and all this stuff, and the way algorithms work on social media, which is self-reinforcing to a negative end, like it only makes itself worse and worse and worse. But by practicing mindfulness, we can literally cut the number in half. Like, so we're only thinking about like 5 negative things to 1 instead of like 9 to 1, and better. By like the whole thing about like, man, there's always good. Like it's something I do with my sponsees. Like for the first week, I have them text me, what's the shittiest thing about today, or what's something horrible from your past, and then I'll tell them why it's good. I will find the good in it. I do that for the first 4 days, and then for the last 3, I have them do it themselves. Because you can always, what did we talk about? Yeah, like when I was doing the class on it, like I'm like, okay, give me something bad, and like somebody's like herpes, and I'm like, okay, got herpes, good. Got herpes in the time where Valtrex exists and taught me important lessons about interpersonal relationships and hygiene and respecting myself. Got herpes, good. You know, could die, like might have cancer, good. Okay, so you realize how that'll, like my mom dying. That taught me good. Like I miss her every day, but my mom died of cancer when I was 16. That's good, because it taught me the value of family and closeness, and like I don't hesitate when it comes to telling. If I got a chance, man, I'm thinking about my family. Okay, I'm gonna shoot my brother a text. Tell him I love him. Sister, you need to call my aunt. I'm gonna call my aunt after this. You know, like, but it. And granted, it sucks. It was horrible. And it messed me up and led to like started drinking really, really bad. But if you look, there is good in everything, and it's really easy to be grateful for positive things. Oh man, I got a roof over my head, and like I'm not out in the cold, and that's good. 100%, highly recommend being mindful, paying attention, focusing on stuff. But if you can figure out how to be grateful for good things and bad things, you're literally grateful for everything. And you can get that number down to maybe like, you only notice like 2 or 3 negative things for every 1 positive thing. And just like, you see that, you ever go to the rooms initially and you see these people and they're all like happy and smiling and like laughing and telling stupid inside jokes. You're like, what are these people on? This. They figure out a system. This so much of this goes into like cognitive behavioral therapy, MRT, and spirituality. Like actually, there's a reason these words are written so simply that we can practice them in our daily lives. There's a reason for that. Because like I could tell you exactly how I did it, right? But that may or may not work for you. It's important to have like make the rules you're living by and the system you're living by as simple as you can get it while still being effective. Because if you try and overcomplicate and add extra rules and like pigeonhole it specifically what worked for you, okay, what's the simplest way we can define this and still have it work? I do that a lot. I am an inventor as well. I do a lot of my inventions. Okay, how can I simplify this idea as much as is possible and still have it to do the things that I'm trying to get it to do? And it's just, there's a reason keep it simple, stupid, and easy does it are mantras of the program. But we're wired a specific way for very specific reasons. We spent,
I just wrote a letter too.
like, evolution spent millions and millions of years doing it. And it is to our benefit to, like, understand it. Because if we don't, it's like the whole be master of mind or mastered by mind. But yeah, that's really all I got. I was trying to keep it short, failed. But yeah, like there's things that need to change about us. There's unhealthy systems we have created on our brains and are living in addiction and alcoholism. But it's not terribly surprising. Like it's the world we're living in that really sets the scene for free will run riot, for like destroying ourselves with our own self-will, and the tendency to press our own button. But as we all know, it is ultimately doomed to failure and self-destruction. But man, go with the flow. Like you gotta remember, like just all right, just real quick. All right, so when I was a kid, like I'm from Phoenix. Wasn't a strong swimmer. Got to go to California for the first time and go in the ocean. Super cool. Like I'd always seen it in TV and movies, and it was super cool. And I went out and stuff. I was swimming and like great time. The weather was perfect. Water was warm. But like I said, I could tread water, but I wasn't like a strong swimmer. And the tide was going out, and I was just having a good time, splash around, and like man, I started to notice, oh man, I can't see my brother and my mom and dad anymore. I can barely see the shore. So I'm trying to swim back to shore, and the waves just keep crashing down on me, and like I'm trying to fight the waves, and the waves just like it's a losing battle. You can't fight the waves. You can't fight the tide. The ocean's gonna do what it's gonna do. It's bigger than me. And I'm like, just literally didn't know the Serenity Prayer back then, but I was Serenity praying. I'm trying to figure out, like, what the hell can I do? Because trying to swim back to shore is just making it harder to stay afloat because the waves I'm trying to swim against the waves and it's beating the crap out of me. So I'm like, okay. So I figured out where I was trying to go, back to shore. And the only thing else I knew, I could tread water and I could float on my back. So, okay. I just started floating on my back. And when in between the crashing waves, when the water was moving in my direction, I just kicked and moved a little bit closer to shore. Check, make sure I'm going in the right direction. And then when the waves were crashing, I just focused on staying afloat. Because fighting it, you won't change a thing. I will lose every time. I literally, when things are moving in a new direction, go with it. Maximize on that. If I'm not getting crashed down on a wave, I'm kicking as hard as I can towards shore and just. But when things aren't going, just focus on staying afloat and making sure you're pointed in the right direction. But really, that's all I got. All right.
Thank you, Doc.
Hanging up.
Nobody leaves.